Hi everyone. Okay, so I have been playing with the new Moyra stamping plates and a few other bits and pieces like the glitters and so forth. And I created a set of nails that I'm wearing, predominantly using two stamping plates. So I'm using the spider gel, which is back to front in this, but I used, sorry, the spider gel stamping plate, as well as the Stampchat stamping plate. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the three main designs that I've created on my own nails in this tutorial. So hope you like it and love to see what you create out of it. Okay, now to walk you through the process. So I used as my base Luxio Koi. Luxio Koi is like a white, but it's a translucent white. So it's sheer, bordering on sheer, but it gives the nail a tint of color, of like a white color, like an opaque. So I did one coat of that, and then I cured for 30 seconds in our LED light, the hybrid. The second coat that I put on was actually Luxio Luminous Orchid. So this is kind of like that color is kind of like it's like a sheer pearly pink. Looks amazing over all different types of colors underneath. So, whether it be a light color or if you put on a dark color, you're going to get a completely different effect. So, depending on what you're using. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I got my stamping plates ready, and I used acetone to wipe over the tips. Now, the reason I did that was I wanted to make sure that the tip was prepared, or the nail. So if I was working on nails, I would have used a little bit of acetone. So whenever you're stamping, you need to use acetone. Prep and wipe won't work. So I'm carefully, because I didn't want to melt my extent, the thing that the stick that holds the tip on. So I'm wiping carefully. And then with a bit of acetone, I'm going to clean the plate. And I always do this before I use a plate, even though I know I've cleaned it beforehand. I clean my scraper and I also prime my stamper. So I'm looking off to the right because I'm actually watching what I'm doing as I'm talking to you so that I can follow and explain. So I make sure I prime my stamper, so I clean it, even though, as I said, I've cleaned it prior. I'm going to be using our Moyra Stamping Polish Black. So this is just a nail polish, a stamping nail polish. And I just apply that directly on the plate, and then with the scraper, scrape it across, and obviously pick it up with your stamper and transfer it to the nail. So they transfer really nicely, really easily, and really well. So once that's then done, then I go back again straight away and I'll clean my plate, I clean my scraper, and I clean my stamper just to make sure that it's all done so that I don't forget and, I end up having to redo a tip or whatever. So they're just my little OCD habits that I thought I would share with you. Okay, so now I'm putting a little bit of acetone in the cap of my acetone bottle, and what I want to do is just clean up anything that you know like I think I had a little bit of black up the top of that tip. Sometimes the nail polish will kind of leave a stringy bit, so I'm just cleaning it up. For this next bit, I'm choosing whichever line I want to dot. So that's why I was sort of hesitating a bit because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do. I'm using a stylus or a dot maker, and I'm using gel plate black, and I'm using it straight out of the pot. So you can, get a spatula and put a little bit on a mat, and and work off that, or you can work directly out of the pot. to be honest with you, you are probably better off working off a mat because you'll have more control over how deep you dip your little stylus in or dot maker in. Whilst when you're working with a pot, you can't sometimes tell the depth. So you may actually, accidentally put it in too deep and then you end up with a big blob on your work. And you don't want that because we have not top coated it. So if you're a little bit, unsure and you're not comfortable with doing these, or you're worried that, it's not going to come out as clean and neat, then what you can do is you can actually top coat over that design. I would use matte on and cure it, and then clean your dispersion layer off, and then you can go back and do your dots. So if you do make a mistake, you can wipe it straight off and start again. Now I'm getting the next plate ready. So this one's the Stampchat plate. And again, I'm cleaning everything, getting it all prepared so that I can stamp the next tip. So the next tip is the full, like writing design. So I'm applying the stamping polish, same one, transfer it onto the stamper, and then straight onto the nail. So looking from the base of the stamper, you can choose where you want to place your stamp, which is great because it's clear underneath. Although I accidentally spilt a little bit of acetone and marked mine. But yeah, it's always handy to be able to look underneath. Now, I decided with the tip, it looked a bit boring. On a nail, it looks really good. So another thing that you can do is I added a little bit of black border on the tip. However, I have seen another design, and it is on that Stampchat plate, where there's the writing and then they've done a set of red, I think Moyra, an artist from Moyra, did like a set of red lips, like, stamped over the top of the writing. That looked really cool too, really effective. So I just applied a coat down the bottom and up the top and cured that for 30 seconds. So, and then I did go back and I touched it up a little bit more with another coat so that I had a nice solid black line, top and bottom, which sort of created like a bit of a border. It just finished it off that little bit. I think it looked cool. But on my nails, I didn't do that. It didn't really need it. You can do it, but I just wanted to add something extra and also show you something extra that you can do with it. So yeah, that's that tip. And then once it's cured, top coat it with matte on, cure for 30 seconds, and then wipe your dispersion layer off. And done. All right, so for the last tip, I used another pattern, still in line with the lines, but what I wanted to do was create a different sort of pattern so that I could add different elements to it. So I've stamped that pattern on. It's the one next to the original one. And again, I'm just going to go in and clean my plate, make sure that my scraper's cleaned and all of that. Then coming back in with the acetone, what I'm doing now is I'm actually removing any lines in that top section of the nail. So I want to put my stamping in there, the writing. So I'm just making room for it. So I'm taking out a little bit of extra lines or a few extra lines so that I can make a bigger space to put my writing. So I'm using just a really old brush, and but a fine one so that I can, obviously get in nice and close to that line without, removing any of that original line, because I want to keep the line there. So I'll clean that up. Make sure that you remove any smudges. I'm cleaning the handle of the the stick for the tip because I'm just a little bit OCD. But make sure that there's no smudgy bits on there. Another video popped up that shouldn't have, so I'll just fix that. Okay, no, it wasn't. I'm in control. I just went back to the original tip because I'm going to matte top coat all of the tips now. So that's what confused me. I thought I'd accidentally put a video in the wrong order. So yeah, just apply a coat of matte on over the entire tip. Make sure that you check in your line of light to ensure that the whole tip is covered, that you've got an even coat over the entire nail, and then pop it in and cure it if you're in an LED for 30 seconds. So I'm doing that with all the tips, and I'm doing it with the last one that I did especially because I need to be able to stamp and then remove some of the stamping that I've done. So hence the reason why I'm top coating all of them now. So just getting to the last one. I could sing for you, but I'm not a very good singer. So we'll just have some comfortable silence. Okay, we're up to the last one. So top coat, matte on over the entire nail. Very cool design. I like this one because it's got different elements to it. All right. Now, once they're cured, then I use, again, acetone because I'm going to be stamping over the top, to remove the dispersion layer. And I'm bringing back the Stampchat plate because I'm going to use the writing down the bottom so that it ties in with the full tip that I've done of writing. So I'm using the same writing. And I'm going to stamp that over the entire nail, but it's to go in that top corner that I was cleaning away. So same process, apply your polish, scrape off the excess polish, and then transfer the stamp to the nail. So you can see it's basically covered the entire nail. And this is why we top coat, because then I'm going to come back and just to get the majority of it off, I'm just using the corner of my wipe, and I'm just going to clean off the bulk of the writing off the rest of the tip. Then to fine tune it, I'm going to come back with the brush after I've cleaned all my equipment. I'm going to come back with the brush and I'm just going to cut it right into that line so that it's nice and neat. And as you can see, that's what I'm doing now. So I just want to, get the stamping just in that section that I'd made room for up the top. And again, you need to make sure that you remove any smudges, because if you leave them, you're going to see it. And especially with the, that white underneath with the pearl or the orchid, it's not going to look very nice. So it's going to look dirty. You don't want your tip to look dirty or your nail. So once you're happy with that, and you've cleaned it all off, and I'm just using the wipe on the other side where you can't see to, just get the polish off my brush. So the next step is basically I'm applying a little bit. You can use Shine On, or you can use Matte On, or you can use any clear gel. And what I'm going to do is use the same brush, and I'm just going to paint a wet coat, over a section of the tip where I want to add some glitter. So I'm going to basically be sprinkling the glitter over the wet polish. So I'm being careful to keep it within the lines because, if I accidentally put a little bit of top coat somewhere else, the glitter's going to stick to it and it makes a mess. Then I'm using the black glitter out of the glitter in a bottle from Moyra. It's actually one of my favorites. Being black helps. And then once I've sprinkled it over the top, so you basically just tap the end of it, then I'm just going to come back and I'm tidying up that line. Now you can cure it and then dust off the excess, but I want to make sure that I've gotten a really, solid line. And if I see that there's anything missing there, I can go back and add a little bit more in. So, again, it's the same thing. Just clean away any excess, product that's on the nail, and you'll get a much nicer, cleaner finish. So I do that on both sides. And then I'm going to cure it, because what I want to do is I want to make sure that I secure that glitter in that wet top coat. I want it to hold. So I'm just touching up a little bit that was poking out from the side, a little bit of glitter. So I've done that, and now I've cured it, so we've skipped, because otherwise this video would go on forever. So now I'm just applying, there wasn't a section here, but I'm making one because I've felt that it needed something there. So I'm just applying a little bit more top coat, and then I'm going to sprinkle the glitter over that section. Now I'm not sort of working within the lines here, so I'm going to go back and tidy this up. So just dust off the excess. The glitter will stick to the wet polish. And then you can come in with your brush again and cut it in so that you get a nice, clean, sharp line, which looks really effective. And then just keep going back and wiping your brush so that you're not just transferring glitter from one section to another section of the nail. Just keep cleaning it on your wipe. And because we top coated, you can go over this section that's been stamped and not remove any of the stamping underneath. So that's
from Google Chrome. Reduce your food foot.
My computer decided to talk to me. So that's a really important step. You've got to remember to make sure that you top coat, because if you start running your brush over the stamping, you're basically going to remove everything that you've done. And then it's a bit of a nightmare to go back and, try and get a nice smooth stamp again. So now that's finished, and I'm just top coating the final coat. Well, actually it's not the final coat, but I'm top coating with matte on. I'm concentrating on getting it in between, and I've made sure that I've dusted off all the excess glitter, because you don't want it ending up back in your top coat. So be careful of that. Be very careful of that, because otherwise you're going to end up with, a matte top coat that's got glitter running through it. So once that's cured, I'm going to remove the tacky layer, and it's kind of sticking to, because the glitter was a little bit raised. So I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to use a spongy. So just a buffer. And what I want to do is buff over the top. So, and I have said it before in multiple tutorials, I can't stand the feeling of bumps on my nails. I don't like that feeling. So I like to go back and just smooth it out, and then I'll go back and finish it with one more top coat. And that way I get a nice, clean finish, which, yeah, I really like. So I'm just taking off the dust. It's pretty much ready. I'm going to top coat it with matte on one more time, and then cure for the final 30 seconds. So now you'll see that the top coat's going on nice and smooth, because the nail's nice and smooth. So it doesn't look as effective on tips, but just so you see it again, here it is on my nails. So really cool design. I've got a little bit of extra glitter there too. But yeah, very effective. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, and look forward to bringing you another one. All right, bye for now.